Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Paths and Disciplines. This will be the last one I do on the paradigms of magic. Well, I'm not going to say the last one. I'm going to do one on cyber magic too. But that's going to be a couple weeks. But thus far, we've discussed the spirit module, the energy module. Last night we discussed the psychological module. Tonight we're going to discuss, I think it's probably one of everyone's favorites. Who doesn't love a little bit of chaos? The Chaostheric paradigm, which is that throws kind of the all the rules out, so to speak. Before we get too far into it, I'd like to also let you guys know I am going to be doing a couple other ones that's going to go with this series as well in the next couple days. I want to do one on the structures of the magical trance, and I want to cover, if I don't get to it tonight, the second basic structure of magic. We covered the basic structure of the psychic yesterday. Well, so I want to cover the second part of that, as well as I might try to do the structures of magical trance tonight just because it's short. But if not, like I said, there's two more that I'll do, and I'll add it to this. This will be all part of this series. And what I'll do when this whole series is done, I will take all the videos and make one just big lecture video out of them. For those that want to actually set through probably what will be a 2.5 hour lecture course on the paradigms of magic, which will include the second basic structure of magic and structures of magic and the basic structures of psychic. With that said, let's get on to tonight's discussion. The paradigms of magic, the Chaostheric paradigm. The manifest universe is just a tiny island of comparative order set in an infinite ocean of primal chaos or potential. Moreover, that limitless chaos pervades every interest of our island of order. This island of order was candidly spewed up out of chaos and will eventually be re-dissolved into chaos. Although this universe is highly unlikely event, it was bound to occur eventually. We ourselves are the most highly ordered structure known on that island, yet in the very center of our being is the spark of that same chaos, which gives rise to the illusion of the universe. It is the spark of the chaos that animates us and allows us to work magic. For those that have ever done and performed the Omni-Meal formula, that's essentially what you want your little universe to be. A spiraling chaos, where it's filled with all the things you want, but yet it has no form. Only the things that you let in and choose to manifest within and create. It is essentially where all creation is. It is the infinite abyss. We cannot perceive chaos directly, for it simultaneously contains the opposite to anything we might think it is. We can, however, occasionally glimpse and make use of partially formed matter, which has only a probabilistic and intermediate existence. This stuff we call ethos. If it makes us feel any better, we can call this chaos the Tao, God and imagine it to be benevolent and human-hearted. There are two schools of thought in magic. One concedes that it is a force of spiritual consciousness. Myself, I am inclined is the view that my spiritual consciousness is a random and chaotic and agreeable sort of way. Constructive imbalance from the point of greatest imbalance comes to the point of greatest stability. The spirit of man needs opposition, which equals imbalance in his or her life to promote growth. Balance forces result in a net movement of zero, and there can be no growth without movement. A simple fact of nature. Simple fact of us being human, if we're not being challenged, pushed, having obstacles put in our way, we're never truly growing. That's why, most magicians, occultists will tell you, we live, from the time we get up to the time we go to bed, and even in our sleep, we live this lifestyle. Though there is no going back, because the simple fact is, we all strive knowledge. We strive to learn. So when I hear people speak, oh, you got to be balanced. No, you got to be grounded, not balanced. You always want to push your limits. You always want to, and you want to always be open-minded and not stay in one position or one school or train of thought. The objective of the chaos magician is to be able to switch hats at any moment and perform whatever his or her desire is, limiting himself to nothing, relying on no one set aspect, but using them all as needed and giving disbelief to those that aren't needed. Peter Carroll, who's also responsible for the fact that chaos magic joins forces with the Zofsky cult of Spare. Carroll and Sherwin assumed some of Spare's terminology, such as spark of chaos, quotes discourse as Kia. In Sherwin's theater of magic, Kia is described as a soul, individuality without ego, while Lieber-Null defines it as nascent energy seeking form, or a great desire, even self-love. It can be represented by the Atu, trump, zero, the fool, or joker. Its hereditalistic beast is the vulture, for it is ever descends to take its satisfaction among the living and the dead. Kia cannot be, or Kai, Kia, however you want to pronounce it, cannot be experienced directly because it is the basic of consciousness or experience. It has no fixed qualities which the mind can latch onto. Kia is the consciousness. It is the elusive I, or E, which confers self-awareness. When I'm referring to the I, I'm referring to it as in the IAO, but not seen to consist of anything in itself. The Kai can sometimes be felt as ecstasy or inspiration, but deeply buried in the dualistic mind. It is mostly trapped in the aimless wanderings of thought and indefection, with experiences and that cluster of opinions about ourselves called ego. Magic is concerned with giving Ki more freedom and flexibility, with providing means by which it can manifest its occult power. The Ki is therefore impersonal, which is an imperfect fact and has nothing to do with common Christian-based definitions of the soul, although we can recognize parallels to the tale of Chinese philosophy and the Buddhist concept of incantations of karma, but not in the individuality of the living being, and even to the Parmesan of Hinduism and the cosmic conscious of some yoga and jhana schools, one should avoid getting carried away with comparison. The Kai just isn't the exact same thing as the Teo, Karma, and Automon, although it may be related to those, or these. The Egyptian concept of the Kia comes close yet and may even resemble it more than any of the others, but is still not the exact same thing. The Kai is a point of intersection between chaos and the matter it created for its own amusement. Chaos magic doesn't recognize individual souls that's given to a person at birth or care that may continually incarnate, whether it wants to or not. In a sense, it resembles Gerda's system, which also assumes that man has to earn his soul. A curious error has entered into many systems of cult thought. This is the notion of some higher self or true will, which has been misappropriated from the monotheistic religions. There are many who would like to think that they have some inner self, which is somehow more real or spiritual than the ordinary or lower self. The facts do not lean this out. There is no part of one's belief about oneself which cannot be modified by sufficient psychological techniques and proper stimuli can. If correctly applied, turn a communist into a fascist, saints into devils, the meek into heroes, and vice versa. There is no sovereign sanctuary within ourselves which represents our real nature, which is more delving into the where we, as chaos mission, we're pulling away from the spiritual and the energy realm. Even though we still use parts of it, we do not acknowledge it. We do not acknowledge a need for a deity. We do not need, or a higher power. We acknowledge the fact that creation is created out of nothing, and from nothing all things were created. And through nothing all things will return. Chaos magicians spend most of their time within dot in the tree. For those that want a little bit broader spectrum of things, dot, what is dot? It is the abyss. It is where all creation, all magic, and form. Out of the spiraling blackness of nothing. There is nobody at home in the eternal fortress. Everything which cherish is our ego. Everything we believe in is just what we cobbled together out of accident of our birth and subsequent experiences. With change, brainwashing, and other techniques of extreme persuasion, we can quite rapidly make men a devotee of different ideologies, the patriot of a different country, or the followers of different religion. Our mind is just an extension of the body, and there is no part of it which can be taken away or modified. The only part of ourselves which exists above the temporary and immutable psychological structure we call the ego is the Kia. And as you see, we're starting to get farther away. We're starting to take more from the psychological module now. We're starting to take the realization that through energies we can manipulate. We do not need the mundane ritual tools. We realize now we stand above, and yet at the same time we stand below, because there is no structure. It is what we see and perceive. And through what we see and perceive, we alter the states. The Kai is the deliberately meaningless term given to the vital spark of life force within us. The Kai is without form. It is neither this nor that. Only the absolute lack of meaning of everything that exists can give the chaos magician true freedom and make him a god or goddess. Relatively speaking, of course. Why? Because we put no such titles in such things. We are the creators. And yes, in the mundane eyes, people would say, well, you're saying you're God. No. We're just saying we create. Because we do not believe in a higher self or higher power or an inner self. We realize the fact we were creating out of nothing, and from nothing we will return. And that all cosmic forces and nature forces is nothing but energy. There for us to weave and manipulate, project. Belief is misunderstood as pure technique, but not as ontic reality. Relatively is the trump. Everything is random. With true freedom, no more obsolete barriers exist, but nor does the right to static or pseudo-absolute structures such as power, dominion, and or hierarchy. Meaning that we can now take a state of mind where words have no power over us or anything. Unless we give it power, we give it breath, we give it life. We create the power, either by speaking it or projecting it and manipulating the energies. We do not place ourselves above or below anyone. Nor do we get caught in the fabled structures of karma. Karma does not exist. It is cause and effect. If the magician truly wants to be free, he or she has to free themselves from all chains. These chains include patterns of thought, behavior, and belief, as well as embedded emotional structures and urges. This process is deeply amoral, since there is nothing absolute in the conventional sense of the word. The initiate has the entire world at his or her feet. Nothing is true. Everything is permitted. The magical order or faculty known as the magical pact, or IoT, Ilamis, Athentos, or the pact, as it is known, is an active melting pot of international magical talent. What is the whole process of chaos magic? Well, a lot of people go off the idea of spare and working with the seagulls. But yet there's more to it, automatic writing, where we are forming, some would say that they're, in some paradigms they would say automatic writing is the communication of spirits, where in chaos magic it is retrieving information from energy or from the things around us. And it's just the next step to cyber magic, where we start delving into quantum physics, physics, string theories, but yet not on the scientific level. The idea that information is nothing but energy and not matter. Therefore, one only needs to tap into that energy to be able to read it. As instead of relying on seals to get you the information. I mean, it's all about states of mind, how we reach each state of gnosis to open that part of the mind. It's trance work. The ability to see that nothing in this world should hold us or bind us. You know, the only true knowledge is the knowledge that you obtain. And how do you attain that? Well, through trial, through experimentation, through repetition. As you can see with each of these paradigms, it's just an evolution to the next one, the next stage of our growth. The realization that we no longer really need all the extra stuff until we get to the point of realizing that everything is there at our feet. It's just a matter of being able to tap into it, being able to see it or perceive it. Once we perceive it, then we can give it substance. Then we can give it energy to manifest and become a reality. There's nothing wrong with people that want to be spiritual. Just like there's nothing wrong with those that do not wish to believe in spiritual things. But one also, when they look at that, they cannot take the atheist standpoint either, because you cannot even believe in yourself. As a higher power or higher form. You know? The only thing you can believe in is the things you create and make manifest. The things you tap into and give it life. Whether it be lost ancient language, or creating your own magical alphabet, or being able to realize your full capability of not needing other people to do ritual work. Unless you wish to have them for a battery, but why would you need them for a battery when you're living in the biggest battery of them all? Where you have the universe and this earth to draw from. You know, each of us have our own gifts. Not all of us will follow the chaos path. But the real thing is to be able to take each paradigm and take that which you learn from them and evolve to the point that you are your own master. You are not reliant or subject to anyone, that when you see false ideas, false beliefs, you know it for what it is, because you're that open. Once you're that open, there isn't nothing you can and cannot do. You know, but one also needs to continue their practice. Never stop learning. Never get comfortable, because when you get comfortable, you start to get balance, and balance equals nothing but stagnation. No room for growth while you're balanced. So you should always be pushing your limits, testing them. I am going to say the structures of magical trance is the second basic structure of magic, for another day. So as you guys can see, it's good to be learning from other beliefs, other ideas. I mean, because you can find most of that in every teaching. Every teaching has took a little bit from somebody else and just added it to their own. The true objective of any magician is to take something, make it his own. Everybody's unique. Everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses. But yet, what is a weakness and strength? It's just the perception of the mind. Because if you have your mind believing you have no weaknesses or strengths, then in magical warfare, one will have a hell of a time finding a chink in your armor. Because what is your strength? It's the ability to control the mind. And make only that which is manifest that you wish to be. If you wish to be successful, you need to program your mind to be successful, which is the hardest thing. I mean, giving people positive thoughts and ideas. Well, essentially, when you do that, you're actually manipulating them. They don't realize it. And most of the time, you don't realize you're doing it. But yes, you're encouraging them. You're planting seeds of positive outcomes. And therefore, you're changing their state of mind through energy, through your own energy, by showing that confidence to where they don't doubt. Which is what makes the chaos paradigm a unique thing. It has no rules to govern itself by. Only thing holds you back is your own mind. Once you fully open your mind, then you'll understand what nobody's ever hinted at. And you'll understand what Thelema was really about. For those that say, we'll greet you with 93, you have no idea. One, I wouldn't know your face. I wouldn't know your name. because a student taught in Thelema was taught outside. It was from the teacher projecting and teaching, not in person, and maybe at a great distance. Because from the chaos, the paradigm, the next evolution of magic is cyber magic. The truest form of magic and the purest. But to learn that, one must know the four paradigms and understand them. One must be willing to break all the chains that bind, which is what the chaostheric paradigm is all about. The realization and the breaking away of any ideals, values, morals. You know, you tell me the sky's blue, I'm going to tell you it's purple. Think on that one. Why? Because that's how I may want to perceive it. And be careful with purple. It is one of the most funnest words and play toys of a chaos magician. I can make you change the conversation quicker, as quick, and forget what we were discussing. The matter of uttering a few words and purpling you. Like I said, we no longer hold to any ideals or beliefs. We are now manipulating the very energies around us and emitting from us. We are literally shaking the foundations of this whole universe. But yet, we're not even at the best part. We're still in the learning stage as chaos magicians. We're on the last rung of the ladder, ready to take a step to the next stage, where we then learn how to truly create, learn, teach, where we can truly say we are the masters of ourselves and masters. I do hope you guys have enjoyed this lecture series so far. They've been fun. Like I said, I will, next couple days, I will do one on the second basic structure of magic and the structures of magical trance. They are very important and things that you should really read and study on. Because it will show you how to avoid obstacles. It will teach you how to reach those states of gnosis to be able to cast that powerful spell that would normally take so much energy by eliminating the obstacles, the outer influences. I actually might add the Omni-Nil formula to this series too, because in a sense that's what I want you to create. I want you to create your own personal universe. Like I said, mine is that of nothingness. It is chaos. Everything flows through it, and only those that I let in have in, which is, I can count on one hand. Because as you'll learn from the next couple things, the more people that you allow in, the more influence their energies, emotions, states of mind have on the work you're doing. That's where sometimes it's good to know the chaos paradigm. Knowing when to, okay, you no longer have no meaning, and cast away. Being able to change your mindset at will without damaging the psyche. Because as you remember in the psychological module, we talked about how it could lead to damaging the psyche, the mind, by saying you disbelieve in what you just done by closing out a ritual. There is a proper way to do it, where you do not damage that part. And it's actually relatively simple. You realize that everything, I hate saying this because most people take it the wrong way, but it's the truth. Everything is a tool. Everything in your life, everything around you, everyone in your life is a tool. They have a place, a purpose, and a time. When that time isn't needed, what do you do with a tool? You put it away, or you discard it. And I don't mean that to be offensive to some of my friends that may be watching. It's just a simple fact. Just like I know my teachers kept me around for this long and in contact this long because of my other gifted abilities. But when he doesn't have need of it, I am discarded. Go your own way until you're needed again. But there's also a point. You don't want to be anyone's tool either. Friendships are built for a reason. I don't treat my friends as tools. But they have a purpose. Which I think anyone could if you sit back and completely look at it and with an open mind, you can see what I'm saying to be true. We rely on others. We do rely on other people. Because there's some things that cannot be you just can't do yourself. Some things just will not make you happy. There is still a duality to things. The need, the draw. But you also got to be able to control that. Knowing when to give that power and when not to. It is controlling the ego and controlling the urges. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed these lectures videos thus far. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to do any tomorrow night. I might wait, take a couple days break since I've been putting these out one after another out since Saturday. Could use a break. And a break is good. But who knows? If I do, I'll post and let you guys know. If you like what I've been posting, hit the like button, leave comments, I'll answer. Share these videos. If you want to keep in touch, subscribe to my page if you like it. I don't only do occult stuff, as some people have already figured out. And some people, well, they can't stand the occult stuff. I'm not separating nothing anymore. It is who I am. These are the things that are part of my life. Whether it be doing research on topics, news, prepping, whatnot. Everything that I put on my channels, the things that are part of me, the things I love and enjoy, that I will share with you guys. I went through and labeled my playlist. Check them out. So you know when you see a title, Paths and Disciplines, okay, that's occult stuff. Or if you see Ramblings of the Chaotic Mind, well, you don't know what you're going to get there because that's me rambling about, who knows, whatever my chaotic mind's coming to, that I need to get out. But yet, they've been fun. So, stay tuned. I will hopefully have some more fun discussions coming up. I got a few projects that I'm working on, and I got a few ideas for some up-and-coming ones that I think would be fun. So, you guys enjoy, and I am going to get some rest.